The city of New York has 37,000 police officers. In China, they have almost that many people policing the internet. Their job is to make sure that the Chinese are going to sites and using the net in a way that their government approves of. It's Julian Pan's job to make the job of China's internet police force as difficult as possible. Mr. Pan is with Reporters Without Borders, and we met with him at the organization's headquarters in Paris. I asked Julian to explain what Google users in China are missing out on.
If you try to make a search using google.cn, which is the Chinese version, the censored version, and you compare the results to the non-censored version of Google, the result is really striking, and I'll show you what it looks like. If you type a word such as Tiananmen, and then you compare the searches, you'll see on google.cn there's no image related to Tiananmen. You got no results, absolutely no results. And you can see if the results were not censored, you would get the image we all know of a guy in front of a tank trying to block it.
He had his briefcase, didn't he?
He had his, yeah. And this kind of content is not accessible in China. And it shows that internet censorship has direct consequences on people's mind. If you want to control someone's mind, control the internet.
And explain how Yahoo went further than Google and in a way that you consider unacceptable.
Yahoo was the first American company to get into the Chinese market. And in order to do that, they had to accept the Chinese rules and to play by their rules, which means that they were the first one to accept self-censorship without any discussion. But what is worse, since 2002, they've been collaborating with the Chinese authorities at arresting and identifying their own customers, which means that the Chinese police, each time they wanted to find information about an email address, which was a Yahoo email address, they just went to Yahoo and asked Yahoo to hand over information about their customers. And each time they did it. So we found out, reading the verdicts of the people we defend, that these guys had been jailed thanks to Yahoo's collaborations.
And would you say that the Chinese are global leaders in intervention?
China really came up with a new model. And the scary part is that now China is exporting this model to the rest of the world.
Is it a seller's market? I mean, is there interest out there in what the Chinese have been able to do?
China is in contact with many dictators around the world, and they resell their technology and know-how to, for example, Zimbabwe or the Belarus. When Chinese diplomats go to a repressive regime, they always go there with their engineers, people who are able to teach these dictators how to control their population using the internet.
So are you fighting a losing battle?
Internet is a great tool, but internet is what we will make out of it. If we don't fight for free internet, we won't get it.
At the Listening Post, we have Viewers Without Borders, our global village voices now on the issue of the internet and access.
Is it really possible for a company that has as its informal motto, "Don't be evil," to block access to certain information that the Chinese government would prefer that citizens not access? People concerned about online freedom of speech need to be concerned about more than search engines. They also need to be very concerned about people's ability to publish and share information online.
If you look at what's happening with Google and its outreach to China at this very moment in time, Google and the Chinese are cooperating so that Google sends stuff out to China, the Chinese refine and manufacture it, and basically send it back to the West. It's become a two-way cooperative globalization process. And the days when globalization simply meant a dominant West that exported all of its technology, all of its taste outwards, and nobody had any say but to receive it, those days are ending now. And I think this is the true meaning of China coming on tap as a world superpower.
Time now for some introductions here on the Listening Post. News-related websites we love. Some you're familiar with. Others we bet you'll be bookmarking soon because they can become habit-forming for news addicts. Check out Maramushi.com, one of our favorite sites that takes news headlines from around the world, color codes them, and sizes them to reflect how much play different stories are getting in various countries. It's a bit like a world weather report for news junkies. Tired of getting your news from the Middle East filtered through mainstream media? You might want to try MideastWire.com, which scours news sources in 22 Arab countries, as well as Iran and in the Arab diaspora around the world. The Beirut-based team translates the articles into English and posts them. It's their way of dealing with the global news disconnect. Newseum.org can take you on a tour of the world's front pages. It's not the only newspaper aggregator that can do that, but it's quick, it's easy to use, and the graphics are good. We wish Newseum offered more papers from the Middle East on its menu, so if anyone from the site is watching. And then there's newshounds.us. It's a media watch site that focuses on one U.S. television news network in particular to point out when that network is being less than fair and balanced. Newshounds US says, we watch Fox, so you don't have to. Ever wonder what World War II would have looked like had it occurred during the television age? Would things have been different if Hitler, Churchill, and Stalin had been able to watch nightly newscasts of the fighting? One of the weirdest webcasts out there tries online to take you back to where history happened. The Listening Post's Salah Khadr now on the newscast they call World War II Daily.
Welcome to World War II Daily, the series that puts you inside the Second World War as we report the latest breaking news.
Today is September 22nd.
World War II Daily is a website designed to throw us back in time.
Romanian Prime Minister Armen Călinescu was assassinated yesterday afternoon at 1:30 p.m. in Bucharest by fascist...
I had a chat with the website's inventor, Steve Rubin.
The World War II era was such a seminal era in the history of our planet. And rather than refer to it as being of no relevance today, I feel it's extremely relevant today. And the whole idea of this project is to create what we call real-time history, so that you're hearing the news as our grandparents, parents, whatever, heard it way back then.
The Dutch and Belgian governments ordered the widespread flooding of the border country. The Dutch town of Utrecht has already reported to be underwater.
In this day and age, literally anybody can be a television broadcaster. And I came across the idea of doing a World War II diary.
Can you maybe tell me about who you think your target audience would be?
Interestingly, one of our key target areas are teenage video game players. One of the most popular forms of video games for young people today are World War II games. I don't know what it's like over there, but history class was generally quite dull in America, and I think that people had a tendency to nod off in the middle of the lecture. And I think that what we're trying to do is offer teachers and professors the opportunity to enliven the history lesson by throwing in some real-time broadcasts.
The German government today ordered all Jews henceforth to be off the streets of Berlin at 8 p.m. The Jewish community of Berlin was advised privately of the curfew and told to inform all Jews.
You know, everybody on this planet had somebody alive living during the period of World War II. And one of the aspects of our site is going to be doing tributes to the veterans, where you can post a web page with a photograph and background information on your hero.
And that's the latest news from World War II Daily, September 14th, 1939.
Remember the days when to see a music video you had to change the channel to MTV and wait? Well, the internet's changed that too. We'll leave you now with a video we found on the net. It might make you feel like life's a bit of a treadmill, but in a good way. See you next week at The Listening Post.